This time, I would like to talk about a major upheaval in China's automotive industry. Currently, the Chinese Communist Party is giving national backing to electric vehicles, EVs. There are many domestic automakers in China, and the government is supporting these companies to establish a strong base in the domestic market, with the aim of exporting their cars abroad and seizing global dominance in the automotive industry. As a result, EVs are being strongly promoted within China, and this national strategy is having widespread impacts. In Japan, for instance, many Japanese automakers have joint ventures in China, but they have been slow or cautious to shift towards EVs. Meanwhile, domestic Chinese companies and even Tesla have been investing heavily in EVs, while Japanese manufacturers have been hesitant or reluctant to commit to the EV transition. Although this may have seemed like a reasonable decision, especially considering that EVs have been pushed as environmentally friendly, China still relies heavily on fossil fuels. In reality, China's push for EVs seems more focused on dominating the automotive market than on reducing carbon emissions. People familiar with China's practices understand that the country's environmental claims are often at odds with its heavy use of fossil fuels and its construction of coal-fired power plants under initiatives like the Belt and Road. This has led some Japanese automakers to doubt the true sustainability of the EV shift, wondering if the EV push could eventually backfire or if they might be left behind. That being said, China cannot compete in traditional gasoline engine technology, so it has no choice but to focus on EVs to seek dominance. As a result, Japanese manufacturers that have been slow to shift to EVs are struggling in China. Some Japanese companies are now trying to catch up with the EV transition, realizing that without it, they risk losing market share in China. But it's not just Japanese automakers that are feeling the effects. The intense competition among domestic EV makers in China has led to price wars, weakening the financial structure of many companies. The oversupply of vehicles in China is beyond what the domestic market can absorb, which is why China's ultimate goal is to export cars and capture the global market. However, countries like those in Europe are not happy about the surge in Chinese car exports and have started to impose restrictions. While Chinese car exports to the US have never been significant, the US government is imposing heavy tariffs on Chinese vehicles, making it difficult for China to increase exports there. As a result, China is now aggressively targeting Japan, but with so many Japanese automakers in the domestic market, it's unlikely that Chinese cars will gain a significant foothold there in the near future. Another factor to consider is the growing number of Chinese immigrants in Japan. If this trend continues, these individuals might start buying Chinese-made cars, which could gradually impact Japan's industrial structure. But today's topic isn't about immigration, it's about the intense competition in China's auto market, where BMW sales in China plummeted in August. BMW's sales dropped by 42% compared to the same period last year. The high price of BMWs makes them unaffordable for many Chinese consumers, and in the past, luxury brands like BMW could still sell well even with high price tags. However, the ongoing economic slowdown in China is now being reflected in BMW's sales numbers, and it's not just BMW. Many businesses targeting the upper middle class in China, from luxury food items to expensive wines, are seeing declining sales. In response, BMW has taken drastic action by slashing prices, a move that's shaking the automotive industry. BMW is known for being a luxury brand, and frequent price cuts can upset customers who bought at higher prices, as luxury is often associated with the prestige of owning something expensive. However, with sales plummeting, BMW had no choice but to reduce prices to regain market share. For example, the price of the 9/1 EV model was slashed from around 7 million yen to approximately 3.5 million yen, a massive reduction. Other high-end models, such as the i7 xDrive, saw similar price drops, with some cars being reduced by over 1 million yen. This has created a sense of deflation in the market, where waiting for further price drops seems like a viable strategy for consumers. This price war has also led some consumers to consider buying BMWs instead of domestic Chinese brands, which could, in turn, hurt the local EV manufacturers. This situation is particularly concerning for Chinese automakers, as the ongoing price competition is already cutting into their profits, and now they risk losing customers to foreign brands like BMW. BMW's stock price initially took a hit due to the drop in sales, but investors are now cautiously optimistic, betting that the price cuts will lead to a recovery in sales. If BMW can boost sales by lowering prices, it could potentially increase profits. However, it remains to be seen whether this strategy will pay off, and there is still a risk that the entire automotive market in China could continue to shrink. Currently, All eyes are on the Chinese government to see what kind of economic measures they will implement. There is speculation that any large-scale intervention could negatively impact the Chinese yuan, and the government appears to be wary of this. In the medium to long term, most experts agree that China's economic slowdown is inevitable, and any temporary measures might only delay the deeper issues. In conclusion, the Chinese automotive industry is facing a period of intense upheaval, and how the situation develops in the coming months will be crucial to the future of both domestic and international car makers operating in China.